In a universe of complexity, of data measured in exabytes and zettabytes, becoming more complex and fragmented every day. Yet, at the edge of chaos, we find infinite possibility. A single intelligent system, recognizing and leveraging patterns, self-organizing to build insight, transforming solutions to empower innovation, driving extraordinary outcomes forward. From any location and across any cloud, into tomorrow and beyond. Welcome to the next generation of data management, the Intelligent Data Management Cloud. Comprehensive, customer-centric, harmonious, and mission-critical. Realizing the real-world breakthroughs across all industries. Moving data to the cloud faster at a never-imagined scale, speed, and flexibility. Gaining insight at hyperspeed. Powered by Claire, our AI engine. Growing your business and seizing competitive advantage, accelerating data-led innovations. And leading your industry by finding the beauty in your results. As you transform it from binary to extraordinary. Welcome to the future, the Intelligent Data Enterprise. Welcome to Informatica World.
Welcome to Informatica World.
Good morning. Everybody awake? Ready to rock and roll? That's it? Let's try that again. Everybody awake? That's it. Everybody ready to rock and roll? Let's dive in. Let's roll. All right, welcome to Informatica World, everybody. It's my privilege to have you all here. So much has changed in the last 2 years. Let's roll the first video. You know, 2 years ago, we were all here in person. Maybe I have to click that. 2 years ago, we were all here in person at the Venetian, enjoying Informatica World. Little did we know that the last 2 years will be a fundamental change around us. We were all together like this, celebrated, had a great time, learned from each other, and boy, oh boy, were we not asked to go back in a cave. Are we all excited to come back? I'm excited to come back. Well, in the last 2 years, we attempted so many virtual things. In fact, 2020, I was in a state of denial. We, in fact, called our show Clearview because I thought we will do Informatica World in person. I was wrong. And then last year, we did it virtually, but there is no substitute to being here. Now, before I go any further, I know a lot of us, a lot of you, and a lot of people across the globe, across this pandemic, have suffered as well. But I guess our hearts are with them, our prayers are with them, but we all know that humanity is strong. We dig deep, we come back out, and we move forward. And that's the spirit the world has shown, and that's the spirit that this whole hall has shown. So let's go forward to go back to what the world should be in a normal way. Now, in the last 2 years, something else changed at Informatica. Well, first of all, we dug deep during the pandemic. We served many, many cases of COVID. In fact, the large vaccine manufacturers were using our data platform to get the right trial data to get the right vaccine to you. New York State, that had the biggest breakout of the pandemic, leveraged us to make sure the right PPE was at the right time, at the right place to serve communities over there. And I can go on and on and on. So while we were serving in many digital transformations, my heart gets fulfilled that we were serving a very big cause that changed the world around us. But in those 2 years, something else happened in Informatica. I know every year, all of you would come here, you would ask one question. Well, you were a public company. You went private. When are you going to go back public again? And I tell you, last year in fall, Informatica has gone back public again. And I want to thank each and every customer across the globe and each and every Informatican, because we could do it because we transformed and innovated and led the change from within, and here we are again to celebrate with you. With that, let's dive in to what we're going to talk today. As I said, in the last 2 years, a lot has changed. I mean, for crying out loud, I can't believe myself. I was a 5-day-at-work person. I love hybrid work. I get more time. I don't have to go out in the traffic in the Bay Area. We're all getting comfortable not just getting groceries delivered to our doorstep, not only food delivered to our doorstep, but also talking to our doctor over Zoom or FaceTime or whatever it is. The world around us has fundamentally changed. Many things that were second nature to us have become just the new normal. But at the same time, in this period, we are faced with many new ways of doing business, and that's evolving as we speak. You know, we were all talking about digital transformation, and you know, it's still happening as we speak, but good Lord, if you think around the world today, we're talking about the metaverse. We're talking about cryptocurrency. We're talking about NFTs. And that world is coming at us at full speed. So there is a fundamental change happening around us, and we all better get prepared for that. Now, in that context, when I look at any enterprise, by the way, including our own, every part of the enterprise is going through a transformation. Customers engage with us differently today. They expect new ways of engagement, personalized, unique, very minute, detail-oriented attention to them, not only to retain customers, but to acquire new ones. Talk about supply chain. We used to talk about supply chain getting more and more digital and more just in time. You see where the world is around today? Local and global supply chains are in massive disruption. And I can go on and on and on for the entire enterprise today. It's in a state of fundamental change. In that context, the digital enterprise is here to stay. In fact, I'd argue if any one of us or any one of you across the globe was simply digitally modernizing, you're already behind. Digital enterprise is the new normal. It's a given. You cannot escape it. We've all heard that in the last 2 years, 2 years packed almost 10 years worth of digital transformation. So that's a given. It's a common denominator. But the foundation of the digital enterprise is the cloud. Why? It's flexible. Go up and down, scale up and down as you want it. It's very agile. You can innovate as you want to, wherever you want to, howsoever you want to. And it's very efficient, depending upon how you use it. It can be very cost efficient, or it can be expensive as well. That's where you have to use it intelligently. Cloud is the new normal for the digital enterprise, and I don't think that is a surprise to any one of you in this room. But another trend that is becoming pervasive is all about AI and machine learning. I think any organization that has to look forward for the next 5, 10 years has to get smarter. It's not about automating. It's about getting intelligent. Those are the two foundational things that ML and AI give to us. And that is something fundamental that's happening as we speak. Predicting what your customers would do. Predicting how a container from China can come to the US from the shortest path, given all that's happening across the globe today. AI and machine learning is going to be a transformative change for all of us. So what is it doing to all of us? What it is doing is, it's actually creating a whole new wave of thinking around becoming data-driven. Digital is not enough for itself. AI will not happen by itself. AI happens when you bring best data, cleanest data, highest quality data into your AI models and then make decisions. We are all headed towards a data-driven digital economy. So what does that mean for the digital enterprise? The digital enterprise is not sufficient anymore. Let me repeat that. If all that you are doing is trying to embark upon digital transformation, that is not enough. What all of these changes are leading towards are forcing the digital enterprise to metamorphosize and become an intelligent data enterprise. That's the step that each and every enterprise across the globe has to take from now for the next 5 to 10 years. And that is a foundational change, a fundamental change, and a very philosophical change. Now let's unpack that one by one. Let's take a step back and look at the current reality of the digital enterprise. As you look at this digital enterprise, which is, by the way, pretty much every one of you in this room, it is a very complex, it is a very fragmented enterprise. By the way, I'm sure not all of you have still yet given up your on-prem workloads. I'm sure of that. You've gone to the cloud, and in the world of cloud, you have many, many more applications, many, many more databases, many, many more storage, many, many more compute platforms. And by the way, that's going to be here to stay. So now let me ask you one question. In this world of cloud, what do you own? You actually own nothing. You're renting the application, you're renting the server, you're renting the database, you're renting the storage. You actually own nothing. So what do you own? You actually own, as an intelligent data enterprise, the data that sits in that application. That's your data. That's your business data. That's your differentiated data that will help you become something different. So if you have to become an intelligent data enterprise, if you have to lead the way to create change, you have to think of data as something very foundational. And I would encourage each and every one of you to think of data as your platform. No storage is the platform. No compute is the platform. Nothing is the platform. It's data that is your platform. Your data is fragmented. It's in many places. How you manage that data to create intelligence, how you manage that data to create new business processes, how you manage that data to differentiate yourself against your competition is going to be how you will succeed in this new world, becoming an intelligent data enterprise. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we at Informatica believe in, that as you look forward to the next 5 years, data is your platform. Now, how do you get there? We at Informatica are focused maniacally on only one thing: helping you manage your data. And we have 3 foundational pillars for execution. Number 1, innovation. Number 2, customer centricity. And number 3, actually probably the most important to us here, is our values. Let's go dig in them one by one. Talking about innovation. 6 to 7 years ago, when we went private, we knew where the world would be going. And as we innovated into new product categories, each year we've come here, we've actually methodically told you something, that we are building a new platform in the world of cloud. And actually, we did that. Our platform is called IDMC, Intelligent Data Management Cloud, which, by the way, we spent $1 billion in the last 4 years in engineering to build. The industry's only at-scale cloud-native platform. Talking about scale, it's running at industrial scale across the globe with 32 trillion, let me repeat, trillion transactions a month, doubling every year. That's how you're using the platform today across the globe. And we're the only software company in our space to be the leader in all Magic Quadrants we compete in. And when I say not a leader, the leader, because we are in the top right-hand corner. We take these things extremely seriously because we know you test us for the best products and the best platform that can help you become the intelligent data enterprise. If you open up IDMC, the Intelligent Data Management Cloud. You will see the 7 best-of-breed product categories. And for folks who've known us for the last 25, 26 years, remember Informatica was only a single product company doing primarily on-prem data integration. Look where we are today. With our own AI called Claire embedded in the platform. And of course, the broadest connectivity, helping you create a metadata system of record. That's IDMC at scale. Now, we've also been committed, as we've gained feedback from each and every one of you, to take this platform, take these capabilities, and make it more and more unique to every industry that we serve. Every industry is different. You want unique capabilities that help you in your industry. So we've taken IDMC and make it more and more industrialized, if I could say the word. This IDMC obviously is native cloud, hybrid cloud, and multi-cloud. Talking about industries, as I said, earlier this year, in March, I announced IDMC for retail. That is customizing the platform for our retail customers. And I'm excited to announce today, as we stand here, the further customization of IDMC for not only healthcare and life sciences, but also financial services. So as of today, IDMC is available for 3 industries, customized for them: retail, healthcare and life sciences, and financial services. Later today, Jitesh will go into many more innovations for the different product categories and AI embedded within IDMC. Now, as we go forward and take this platform to you, we obviously serve the different use cases that you use the products and the platform for. There are 4 use cases we serve: analytics, for all data warehousing, data lake, or any of those use cases; application modernization and hyperautomation; the MDM 360 use cases; and of course, data governance and privacy. There are many breakouts that I know you're going to, learning unique capabilities and use cases, how we serve these 4 journeys, as we like to call it. But what gives me the most amount of warmth is that we serve thousands of customers across the globe with this platform and across these use cases. 5,000 plus customers across almost every industry segment is what we serve. There are many great logos over here. And I couldn't be incredibly proud that hundreds of you, as shown by this slide, are here at Informatica World, sharing breakout sessions, your journeys, leveraging our capabilities to drive your initiatives within your enterprise. And that's what makes all of us extremely unique, learning from each other. Now, we wouldn't be successful if we didn't partner very well. And all of you know that. We obviously partner extensively across the globe. Here is a snapshot of the large system integrator partners of ours. We have obviously hundreds of regional partners as well. And our goal is to make sure that they have thousands of trained developers that are available rapidly for you to basically put on your projects. So again, you can get rapid value out of the projects that you invest with our platform with. And those partnerships have stood the test of time. Now, another set of partnerships that are important to us are the cloud partnerships. And one of them that has stood the real test of time has been with Microsoft. Microsoft was a partner with us in the earlier on-prem days. But as Microsoft went to Azure, we obviously learned from them as we went to our cloud, but obviously partnered with them from the very early days, helping customers like Volvo, as an example, transform their businesses. Well, instead of me talking a lot about our Microsoft partnership, why don't I invite on stage Scott Guthrie, Executive Vice President of Azure and AI, to share with all of you our partnership and many new exciting things that we're going to do jointly. Scott, please come up on stage. We're doing fist bumps here. That's what I've learned. Well, welcome to Informatica World.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, you're a veteran now. You were here, what, 2018 last?
Yes.
In person.
Yeah.
How does it feel? We're back in person now, right?
It's great to be here and great to see everyone live. And it's a fantastic partnership and couldn't be more happy to be here.
Well, let's begin with that. Obviously, we have thousands of customers. Here are obviously a few on this logo. We heard Thomas talk about. He's a joint customer of ours. Obviously, as I was sharing with everyone, our partnership has stood the test of time. We've done many collective things, analytics and governance, and we'll announce many more things too. Love to hear from you as how you see the state of the partnership today and going forward.
Yeah, well, I think to be successful in any really data-led cloud journey, you need really to have trust, you need guidance, you need the capabilities to really address the most critical data challenges. And the deep integration and strategic partnership between Informatica and Microsoft is really driving success, as you can see on all these logos, in terms of a very broad customer base. And this logo slide is really testament to kind of the commitment that Microsoft and Informatica really share to work closely with our customers every day to help them expand the art of the possible when it comes to data for both their employees and their own customers. And the Informatica Intelligent Data Management Cloud integrates seamlessly across not just every aspect of Azure, but also the Microsoft Cloud broadly. In fact, you can think of it as both launch partner for things like Azure Synapse and our Azure Data Lake Storage, but also you look at the momentum that we're having with Power BI and with the Dynamics 365 business. On Power BI, for example, we have deep product integration and co-innovation across the two companies that's really allowed us to help solve for some of the hardest to address use cases, like analysts that need access to company-sensitive data or classified data sets. And with this deep integration, Informatica has really truly incorporated Power BI into a comprehensive data offering that's making our customers successful. And on the Dynamics 365 side, as a customer analytics, and know your customer becomes really a greater theme across every organization. MDM on Azure really enables that customer 360 analytics by validating the trusted data foundation and integrate seamlessly again with the Dynamics data model, what we call our common data model, through our customer insights in Dynamics 365 and up and down the entire stack. So it's just a phenomenal partnership that's really, really deep and richly integrated across the entire Microsoft Cloud.
No, that's very helpful. Now, of course, I shared our platform. We built the Intelligent Data Management Cloud to help ensure customers can succeed in this digital economy. Managing data is a big deal. From having to discover data, contextualize it, quality of it, govern it, and sharing it across the enterprise. Obviously, our goal is to have more and more joint customers to basically get to what we call the modern cloud data architecture. Would love to hear your perspective on this joint data architecture that we're talking about.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, it's together, I think Informatica and Microsoft, really provide customers with that most comprehensive, intelligent, modern cloud data architecture that's out there. And again, this slide behind us again shows that deep integration up and down the stack. It's not just that we're taking our data warehouse and integrating it with Informatica. We're really driving deep integration up and down the full Microsoft Cloud stack, and that ultimately then enables digital transformation much, much faster with much better value.
Absolutely. Now, the fun part, as I said, I was saving some of the joint announcements here today, so we now obviously have a couple of them here. First, obviously, I'd like to thank your team because we've worked very closely as we, for everybody in this room. When we start thinking of new capabilities, we start working quarters in advance. The engineering team sit down, figure it out. So let's go into some announcements today. The first that I'm excited to announce is the launch of, let's click to the next slide. Here it is. The launch of Informatica's MDM SaaS natively on Azure. Our MDM as a service on Azure offers our joint customers what we believe is the most modern, hyper-personalized customer experience and a scalable 360-degree view, basically at a much lower TCO. So I know this is something, Scott, you and I have talked about for quite a long time. And we've had many MDM customers who are running on-prem workloads on Azure, but now as they go to the cloud with this, what's your perspective how it'll help them?
Yeah, well, I think if you look at the volume and the use of data, and the variety of different data sources out there is fundamentally changing, really across every industry. And as organizations are looking to derive, insights and really unlock business value, from their combined data assets, they really need a trusted data foundation. And using Informatica's cloud-native master data management solution, powered on top of Azure as a SaaS service, combined with that kind of agility and the scale that Microsoft Azure gives, organizations are going to be able to take that holistic view of the data, dramatically reduce time to value, and again, accelerate their digital transformation efforts seamlessly with all the great capabilities in the Microsoft Cloud. So it's really a match made in heaven.
And MDM links very closely with the CDP and the common data model, all of those strategies. Now, the second area, which is top of mind for a lot of people in this room, and we've talked about it a lot, is data governance. It's an area of innovation. And the second big announcement is that today we are launching the end-to-end availability of our data governance for front-end analytics, all the way from source to end analytics with new scanners for Power BI. Now, this, in our, obviously, from where we sit, gives our joint customers maximum transparency and trust with new governance capabilities, providing you full view of your governed data for whether it's a business user or a technical user for last mile visualization and understanding of what's happening under the covers. So I'm pretty excited about that, and that's the second big announcement we have with Azure. Now, Power BI, I know, has a soft corner in Scott's heart. I know there's a lot of stuff happening there, and I know you announced a bunch of new stuff at Build. I'd love for you to share with this audience what's coming or down the pipe with Power BI.
Definitely. I think Power BI is one of those sort of runaway successes the last couple of years. It's really just gone viral, and there's tens of millions of people using it now as end users, and more than 3.5 million active developers are now using Power BI to create incredible data experiences every day. And Power BI continues to kind of empower both business analysts and citizen developers to build solutions that were previously only possible by professional developers. Everything from data integration, semantic models, automated machine learning, and much more. And today at our Microsoft Build event, which we're hosting at the same time as Informatica World, we're sharing several exciting innovations that we're bringing to Power BI. The first is sort of what we call industry-first self-service data mart support. Data mart is a new Power BI capability that really enables users to perform relational database analytics in a self-service way and uncover actionable insights from their data. And this out-of-the-box feature really enables business analysts to build a data mart over any data warehouse or multiple data sources that can be centrally governed and managed. And data marts in Power BI really accelerate time to insight while reducing the demands on top of IT. We're also today announcing the general availability of a new capability we call metrics in Power BI. A year ago, we announced the preview of what we called then goals in Power BI, which is a data-driven, collaborative, and adaptable way that you can measure key business metrics built directly on top of Power BI. It's a great way to kind of drive organizational KPIs and goals throughout your organization. And as we kind of worked with customers to improve the feature, we kind of innovated in a lot of new ways, and we're actually changing the name to metrics in Power BI to actually better align with how our customers are actually using this feature and benefiting from it. And we're announcing an array of enhancements today and integrations that are going to make this feature even more versatile, helping you track metrics better at both the granular and at the cross-organization altitude, and really drive, again, digital change and transformation throughout the organization. And then the last great feature I kind of want to call out today is what we call storytelling with data and PowerPoint. We announced a preview today of one of the most sought-after capabilities in Power BI, which is native integration in PowerPoint. And so you can now embed live, interactive Power BI reports directly in your PowerPoint presentations. And in fact, even as sort of attendees, whether in live or virtual through Teams, react to your insights in your PowerPoint presentation, you can actually dynamically in the PowerPoint presentation interact with the visuals, change the data using slicers, filters, and drill down mechanisms without ever having to leave PowerPoint. And really transforms how you can use and storytell with data as part of your meetings. These joint innovations are really designed to help customers uncover insights and drive digital transformations. And again, they seamlessly integrate with all the great announcements from Informatica today and really work seamlessly together.
That's great to hear. Now, obviously, I know a lot of people have been looking forward to that, and obviously, we are supporting all of these Power BI innovations, and the announcement basically leveraging our breadth of connectivity, the 50,000 plus connectors we have to get data for Power BI analysis, and leveraging our Informatica data quality on IDMC to provide pre-packaged accelerators, reducing that work to ensure good quality and trustworthy data that can be used with Power BI. Again, without good and trustworthy data, you don't know what you're looking at. So obviously pretty excited to see that. Now, not a new announcement, but I know this is something that is happening as we speak. We heard Thomas talk about it, is analytics modernization. And I know this is something that Scott and I have been talking about for a couple of years now, and we've partnered quite well. I want to share with everybody where we are. So in addition to all of this innovation I shared, we obviously are helping our customers jointly modernize and move their analytics workload to cloud as a part of Microsoft's Cloud Analytics Modernization Program, our modernization program. Basically, if you're a Power Center customer on-prem, we're helping you migrate to our Intelligent Data Management Cloud and to Azure Analytics Synapse easily. We have a lot of incentives, we have a lot of utilities, we have a lot of automation to help you do that. And very importantly, you also can transact IDMC through the Azure Marketplace. So I know this is something, Scott, near and dear to my heart, in your heart. Love to hear your thoughts and what you can share with everybody here.
Yeah, no, as Amit mentioned, Microsoft and Informatica are really committed to helping our customers accelerate their cloud migration journey, both on the technical side, but then also through things like Marketplace and our go-to-market activities. And the alliance, of Informatica's rich data integration capabilities and Microsoft Azure's unified data analytics platform, with that, customers really have a much faster path to value and the benefit of cloud analytics. And I think the modern cloud analytics joint program is a great opportunity for any customer who wants to modernize to IDMC and move to Azure. And incredibly excited about what's coming. Excellent.
Well, Scott, thanks for coming. But before you go, I know you're a red T-shirt guy, which you didn't wear today.
I dressed up for you.
You dressed up. I'm this West guy, but because you've become an Informatica veteran, I have a special gift for you. Stay there. We're going to give Scott our West. And Scott, I'd like for you to wear it, and we'll have some fun. We'll do a selfie. Would you guys want a selfie? All right, let's do that.
If I can get this on, there we go.
Let's see if it fits you. It does fit you well. All right.
It's my new look.
It's your new look now. There you go. Well, let's turn around. Let's do a selfie over here, guys. All right. 1, 2, and everybody, I'm not even seeing hands behind us. All right. There you go. Well, Scott, it's a pleasure to host you. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. A big round of applause for Scott Guthrie.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Obviously, many innovation. As you go to the breakouts, you learn more. Actually, one of the other things we'll mention later, but the IDMC platform that obviously can transact to the marketplace, all of IDMC is available to you in consumption-based pricing today as well. So go check it out as you go to the breakouts. Now, talking about partners, obviously, we have a great partnership with Azure, which has stood the test of time. We obviously have partnerships with other cloud platforms. We understand you live in a multi-cloud world, and our goal is to make sure that we walk up to you and serve you with our innovation to what you want us to deliver. And you will hear from some of our partners later today and tomorrow and in many breakout sessions. So now, as we take a step back, we went through a lot today. Where we are coming from and where we are wanting to go, or where we want to aspire to go. And if I recap for you, there are 3 things. The power of 3s, as I like to say it. Number 1, it's incumbent upon us not to just be a digital enterprise. But if you're walking into this intelligent world, a data-driven world, to build the intelligent data enterprise. Number 2, if you want to build the intelligent data enterprise, you have to completely unshackle yourself and think very differently. And you have to remind yourself that data is your platform. And number 3, we as Informatica do only one thing: help you manage your complex, fragmented, any kind of data to help derive insights and help you run your business. Those are the 3 things that we stand behind and we believe the world is going towards. I talked about innovation. I talked about customer centricity. But I told you the secret sauce that has stood the test of time for us as a 25-year-old company who has been able to re-innovate ourselves and go forward is our values. We have almost 6,000 Informaticans across the globe. probably in every large country of the world, that are bound by a common set of values. And it'll be no surprise to you that our values are data. But each word has a specific meaning to us. D stands for do good. You heard Jim talk about today what we are doing with Girls Who Code. During the pandemic, each and every Informatican in different parts of the world dug deep to help their communities. That is a very important ethos for us as we continue to scale and grow. Second, A, act as one team. We try hard to come together, to innovate and to drive customer success, which drives me to the third thing. The one, probably the most important thing that binds Informaticans together is think customer first. I joke with my own exec team. You know, we have different functions. We can argue with each other, disagree with each other, but the one thing that rallies Informaticans together is you. I kid you not, if there is an escalation that comes from a customer, and I'll pick that as an example, there is no codified process. Everybody knows that that is the P0 and we have to solve it for you. And that has stood the test of time, and we never want to change that. And the last A, aspire and innovate. Aspire to be somebody different. Ladies and gentlemen, when we set about a journey 6 years ago to transform our own selves, innovate, many questioned us. Many questioned us. Because where I live in Silicon Valley, innovation only comes from startups. And I joke, startups innovate till the day they die. Many doubted us. But 6,000 Informaticans didn't doubt. You tested us. You told us what you want. You kept pushing us. And we kept aspiring to be a bigger and a different company. And here we are, continued to innovate to become somebody totally different where we stand today. And that would not have happened without you, our partners, and Informaticans combined. And you know, for the last many years, some of you who've used our products and capabilities, that we've always backed you. Enterprise software can be very testing. 364 days a year it can work, but the one day it tests you, you've seen how Informatica comes and rallies for you. That value has not changed. And I can tell you that as you go out of this door, on behalf of each and every Informatica, and I can assure you that we at Informatica have got your back. Have a great Informatica world, and let's have a rockin' show. Thank you very much.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Informatica World 2022, live in person in Las Vegas. I couldn't be more excited to be here with all of you. And for the thousands more online streaming live, welcome to all of you. Last time we were live was 3 years ago. And we all know there's been an enormous amount of change in the world over the last 3 years. There's been an enormous amount of change in the data world in the last 3 years. And we have been innovating maniacally to stay ahead of the curve to help you realize your data opportunities and your business outcomes. So I've got an enormous amount of innovation to share with you today. But before I get into that, I want to bring back something that Amit shared earlier. Data is your platform. Data is your platform to innovate, to build new products and new services, new customer experience engagement models, new operating models to drive excellence and efficiencies. But how does one realize data as their platform? How do you realize data as your platform? Well, there's two key components. You need to empower yourselves with data. You need to empower your broader data community to engage with data. And you need to give them the modern capabilities needed to realize unprecedented outcomes. Let's start with the data community. The data community is bigger than ever before. It's not just IT professionals in a centralized team. It's not just data experts in the chief data office. It's all of that and subject matter experts in the line of business. It's all of that and non-technical users that want to engage and access data across lines of business, spanning deeply technical to non-technical users. And they all want to engage with data. They are all demanding modern data capabilities to engage with data so that they can realize data as their platform, so that you can realize data as your platform. They want to understand where their data is. They want to discover it. They want to understand it. They want to understand its relevance to how the business is operating on this data. On this understanding of all enterprise data, they want to identify the data sets, the data sources that are interesting to them, and access them, ingest them, integrate them, process them wherever they're analyzing their data. They want to connect to trusted data and automate business processes, drive intelligent automation. They want to ensure that it's trusted. They want to cleanse it. They want to ensure that the data is of the right quality for the right use cases. And of course, to reconcile this fragmentation that Amit shared, that you're all experiencing in the data landscape, they want to master it. They want to relate it. They want to build single sources of truth of business-critical data domains. Of course, governance and protection is foundational when driving data engagement, when driving data consumption. And it's on this set of capabilities that they want data democratized and shared across the enterprise and across enterprises. Recognizing this, many reference architectures have emerged. The data fabric. I'm sure you've all heard of the data fabric. Many layers of sophisticated capabilities need to come together to abstract away the fragmentation in the data landscape with capabilities like augmented data catalogs, active metadata, data orchestration, a data marketplace to deliver data and drive broader consumption of data. We agree. Makes a ton of sense to abstract away that fragmentation. Equally, there are other approaches like the data mesh, leveraging a lot of the technologies that I described in the data fabric, but focused on people and process to build data products, and then leveraging federated governance models, democratize the data products using data APIs. We agree. Makes a ton of sense. There are many data consumption patterns within an enterprise, and yet another one is what's referred to as the modern data stack, enabling business technologists in the line of business to rapidly get up and running, connect to various data sources, and self-serve themselves in the appropriate analytics platform, leveraging rudimentary ETL, ELT capabilities, rudimentary quality capabilities. It delivers the promise of agility, but it doesn't scale to the sophisticated needs as the business needs grow. It doesn't scale from a performance standpoint. But agility for the business is critical. The philosophical approach makes sense, but it's not enough. Data needs to be made available for all consumers of all skill sets. The users need to be able to start small and scale with the business needs to enterprise scale workloads, petabyte scale workloads, and beyond. Need to empower this modern data community with the complete set of capabilities, not just bespoke ETL, ELT tooling, or a departmental catalog, or a bespoke quality tool. You need to deliver the full breadth and depth of capabilities. But it needs to be open, extensible, and embeddable to engage and deliver value within your existing architectures. Of course, we're empowering this data community to connect to anything, anywhere, and process it on the compute of your choice. And foundational to all of this is it needs to be secure, but to practically deliver at petabyte scale, to deliver intelligent, simplified AI-powered experiences, it needs to be intelligent and automated. That is why we pioneered and launched the Intelligent Data Management Cloud, IDMC. This is a multi-year journey of building out the foundational components to deliver the fundamental capabilities of modern data engagement, connecting data consumers to data sources, whatever those sources are. Data at rest, batch, data in motion, streaming, real time, but giving them the ability to connect to data where it is through all of these capabilities. Now, we've been on a multi-year journey, and over the last 12 months, our pace of innovation has accelerated. I can't possibly go through all of these capabilities here, but across all the breadth of IDMC, we are delivering on a monthly basis. In the cloud, we release innovation on a monthly basis. And a lot of this innovation is also delivered in our on-premises products with 10.5.1, 10.5.2, and upcoming platform releases. I encourage all of you to go to the breakout sessions on our roadmaps to get into all manner of detail, but I do want to highlight a couple of major innovations over the last 12 months. Over the last 12 months, we launched 7 cloud products: Cloud Catalog, Cloud Governance, Cloud Marketplace, Cloud Data Prep, multi-tenant MDM Product 360 SaaS, multi-tenant MDM Supplier 360 SaaS. And then we exposed the underlying multi-tenant MDM multi-domain capabilities for any domain as SaaS. Above and beyond these new products, we also innovated and delivered major capabilities across the portfolio. ELT on all major compute platforms. In the cloud, it's not just ETL, but also ELT. With the separation of compute and storage, all of us have the flexibility to deploy our processing on the compute of our choice. We support AWS, Azure, GCP, Snowflake, Databricks, as well as our own Spark Kubernetes Elastic Serverless engine. We launched Elastic and Serverless Data Quality, Elastic and Serverless Metadata Scanning and Lineage. We launched data quality automation for petabyte scale data governance. We launched application mass ingestion to make it easy for departmental users to connect to SaaS sources, load them, and self-serve analytics. We launched master data governance to ensure governance policies and master data initiatives are related. Quality policies and master data initiatives are related and linked. And we launched, amongst many other things, AI ML model governance to drive AI explainability and transparency, critical as organizations embark and operationalize their AI and ML models, their AI and ML initiatives. All of these capabilities built on foundational components of our AI and ML engine, CLAIRE, and our platform. Over the last 12 months, we've built out schema matching and schema mapping capabilities to rapidly build self-integrating data pipelines. We've built out NLP-based data quality automation to automatically generate data quality rules from functional specifications of data quality standards and policies. We've analyzed, through intelligent metadata, we've analyzed the structure of data, and through that, we're able to infer and recommend data quality rules that should be applied to a data set. This is thousands of hours of productivity automated. Leveraging deep learning, we have built entity matching for master data management to drive greater accuracy and greater performance. We've delivered intelligent multi-hop graph search capabilities to make the discovery and understanding of data much easier, much more productive. Many, many more innovations in CLAIRE driving the breadth of capabilities, all on our platform, extensively instrumented with telemetry to track all of your workloads, to track your consumption of how you're processing your data workloads to drive analytics, to drive AI, not just when deployed on our compute, but also when deployed on the compute of our partners, to help you realize greater visibility and drive your FinOps, financial ops practices, so that you know what your data and analytics stack is doing and how it's consuming data, how it's processing data, and what it's costing you. In the cloud, we've built flexibility. While our cloud is elastic and serverless, we give you flexibility to deploy the runtimes in your environments. We give you the flexibility to bring your own Kubernetes. Now, critically important is security, and we continue to invest in the most rigorous security certifications. In addition to SOC 2 and SOC 3, we now have SOC 1. For the federal government, we now have FedRAMP. For Texas, at the state level, we have Texas Ramp. And many, many more innovations. Now, this is what we've done over the last 12 months to power your analytics and AI initiatives, your application integration and hyper-automation initiatives, your master data management and 360 initiatives, and of course, your data governance and privacy initiatives. And I've got a lot more to share with you today.
Welcome back. This morning, you heard from me, and I talked about, I know you all are on a multi-cloud journey, and we've talked about how we support multi-cloud, how we aspire to be the Switzerland of data. In that journey, I actually sat down with Thomas Kurian, who's the CEO of GCP. We obviously have a pretty deep partnership with Google Cloud, which has, again, been there for a couple of years. And since Thomas took over, it has accelerated. Actually, Thomas Kurian was here on stage in 2019, Informatica World. He couldn't make it here, so I sat down with him and shot a video. We'll play the video actually in two parts. We'll do a small clip first. I'll host a customer panel, which are customers that are joint Google Cloud and Informatica customers. And then we'll have the remaining part of the video where we'll be announcing some cool announcements between GCP and us. So with that, let's get started and roll the first video.
Welcome, Thomas. Good to have you. It's always a pleasure to host you.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, love to hear from you from your perspective, how the partnership has grown and what the strategic nature of this Informatica GCP partnership is.
First of all, thank you, Amit, to your team and to all the engineers at Informatica that have made the experience like really great for using the two products together. You know, our vision is data is the key asset to a company. We want to provide through Google Cloud the mechanism to help people understand their data, no matter where the data may sit. And the combination of your tools and ours have allowed many companies to understand their data and get value from it quicker and easier.
We've done a great job together helping our customers.
Well, that was an abrupt stop. By the way, have you noticed that in the Zoom world, we all get to see our home backgrounds a lot. So you've seen my home now. This was the office, by the way. Anyway, going to the panel, it's my pleasure to welcome two of our esteemed customers from ADT and TELUS, Sam Waits, who's the IT Director, Data and Analytics from ADT, and Jaime Tedes, VP of Data Strategy and Enablement from TELUS. Please join me in welcoming them. Sam and Jaime, please come on up. Gentlemen, how are you?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Grab a seat.
Thank you. Very good to see you.
Well, I forgot. I was supposed to fist bump, but I'm shaking hands now. I guess I'm back to the real world.
That's right.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
We'll dive right in. Now, Sam, you and I were chatting, and you talked about, obviously, at ADT,
there's a pretty ambitious growth plan, moving from a 5 billion organization to a 9 billion organization. Can you give us a sense of the vision of that transformation as to how you're thinking of expanding beyond home security and other programs that ADT has in mind?
Yeah, certainly. So, really, it's really fun to be part of the ADT family, and everything really that we're focused in on is around really saving lives. And we want to grow, and we're in a growth market. We have the opportunity now to grow from 5 billion to 9 billion, which really gives us the opportunity to really understand our customers in a way that's more in-depth than what we've traditionally been doing. So it's really about being data-driven and understanding not so much more about our products and how our products are serviced or how we want to service our products, but how we need to service our customers and how we can be more centric, more customer-centric, and use data to be able to get in front of that.
Got it. That's very helpful. Now, back up for me a little bit, I think, and give me in that context the role that you have at ADT, the organization that you're part of, and what's your charter?
Yeah, certainly. So I've been part of ADT now for just over 18 months, and I think I have the coolest job in the world. I get to bring IT capabilities and business desires and outcomes together. And so I would say traditionally we've had a model where both groups have been somewhat siloed, and we're in the process now of bringing all that together. And we're using data as the common framework to be able to do that.
By the way, I did ask Sam for some discounts on ADT, and the answer was no. So I failed that one with him. I tried hard, even though he uses our products. So, well, I'll try again later.
Sounds good.
Jaime, welcome to Informatica World.
Thank you.
I'll begin first again, maybe the question first, what's your role and what you're doing at TELUS, and we'll go into the TELUS journey.
You bet. So I'm currently the Vice President of Data Strategy and Enablement for TELUS. I'm in charge of enterprise metadata management, data quality, enterprise engineering and platforms, and advanced analytics and AI. I'll tell you a little bit about TELUS. Maybe not everybody knows about TELUS. We're a Canadian company. We have over 17 million customers in Canada providing services of TV, internet, security, and more. We also have other businesses as TELUS Health, where we use digital technologies to improve health outcomes, TELUS Agriculture, to improve the solutions on the data supply chain, and as well TELUS International, to just IPO last year, that we operate over 28 countries providing customer experience services, IT, and AI as well.
So building now on what TELUS is doing, just like I asked Sam, so I know you guys have a huge focus on cloud adoption, and we see that you have a cloud-first approach, which is very similar to what we talk about. How do you see cloud, AI, and ML helping you in your data journey that you are driving at TELUS?
Indeed. So I'll tell you some examples on how the journey has been for us. So we started this journey more than 2 years ago. And one of the main things that we use, cloudification, was a call to action. How could we reduce it for reduce our technical debt? And I'll give you, a fun fact. So one of the things that we started to do was break data silos. So we had a lot of data warehouses in different places. And then we modernized them all and put them into BigQuery. But one of the things that we found, I was telling Sam backstage, is 20 to 30% of the data we didn't move, we deleted it. Because actually when you do that exercise, you find there's a lot of data that is duplicated, data that is old, data that shouldn't be there. So it's one of those perfect opportunities to modernize and clean your house a bit. The other thing that helps in terms of data management is after you do that and you delete all this old data, we build a data catalog and dictionary enterprise-wide, so allow anybody in the company to find, understand, and trust data very efficiently. And there's a cultural process associated to it, where we've been doing code development for a long time, so we are very familiar on prod environment, test environment, to use GitHub to document all the code. But on the data is the same. So you need to have a data lifecycle management, that you bring data from the inception until you retire it. You need to ensure that you keep the culture in your team to ensure that that keeps afloat. And that's one of the big learnings and big contributions we've been doing as part of our cloud journey.
That's quite interesting. He deleted data. That's we were just chatting behind. That's a courageous move. Business generally is not very comfortable with that, but I think that made a lot of sense. Sam, coming to you. I know we talked about, obviously, our partnership with you. Obviously, you have invested both in us and GCP. Would love to hear from you. How is that going collectively? What are the results you're seeing, and what kind of business outcomes have you achieved in this process?
Yeah, it's a great question. And there's really a lot of things, really, from a positivity standpoint, there are great things that are coming out of these two partnerships. We're using Informatica more on the front end relative to our sources, pulling data out of those sources from an ELT perspective and landing them into our BigQuery instance. And so a lot of our work from an Informatica standpoint is really that extract process, the load process, and really transforming the data. We're using BigQuery to then expand our capabilities around storage and around things relative to compute. And these things sound, these numbers will sound pretty big, but it's really basic things. We're seeing compute times now that are 90 to 95% faster than what we were doing from an on-premise perspective. We're seeing process throughput time from many of our pipelines reducing by the same amount. Things that used to take 40 hours to actually process and run for us now happens within 40 minutes. And so the ability that we've gained in getting to insights and being able to ask questions now is so much faster than what it used to be.
And you get mission critical data coming from obviously your devices that's coming over, and reacting to that is not just, you're helping people's lives. So that performance improvement is a tremendous business outcome.
That's correct. Yeah, it's giving us insights into that customer experience and getting us to a spot where we can position data faster for all of our customers, which helps from a 911 perspective, helps in dispatching, really helps save lives. So it's very, very meaningful.
That's terrific. Jaime, similar question to you. I know you again have a long-standing relationship with both GCP and us. Tell us a little bit about the business outcomes and the transformation, and what outcomes are you seeing so far?
For sure. So we've been having a great partnership with Informatica for over 5 years. And we're a big user of customer MDM, customer master data management. So for us in TELUS, actually, the Informatica MDM solution is part of the critical path. So actually, it's connected to a lot of systems. So I'll give you some examples. When anybody calls the call center at TELUS, as soon as they pick up the phone, the system makes an API call to the MDM platform and populates all the information about all the products that this customer has. One of the things that really helped us quite a lot is make far more efficient the conversation they have with the client, because they don't have to transfer. They minimize the number of transfers because they already have all the information about the products that this customer has. We also use it to fuel our digital journey. So when you have existing customer, they're going to add a service, we can pre-populate all this information that we already have from customer MDM as well, and actually take from 1 minute to seconds to add any product online. And as well, we use it for other things as reduction of credit checks. So you already have some products for us, and we don't have to check that. And it's heavily used for real-time marketing campaigns. So upsell, cross-sell, you have all the information on the product set. And it's been an incredible journey for the last 5 years. In terms of Google, one of the main things we're doing with Google now is scaling the MLOps. So I was talking to Sam about that. So now, we have different models in production for machine learning. But now we're getting on, okay, how do we scale it? How do we manage that from an MLOps environment? So we are working with Google using their Vertex AI-powered workbenches to be able to manage that in a way that now, same as you have done in terms of reliability with other things, you can understand right away that your model is drifting, you have an alert tied to that, and there's an action that is going to happen. So it's treating machine learning as an operational asset. So the journey has been fantastic. Actually, we see the results really apparent on our way that we interact with customers, on the way that we scale MLOps, and the way that they are used across the company.
One of the things that, as I was talking to Sam and Jaime, and obviously I know the use cases, that is, really stood out for me is that these are real operational, industrial scale use cases. I mean, we all know in the US ADT, and we all know the kind of calls that come from there. And of course, you're talking about call center. These are like real operational use cases that drives productivity, business performance, business outcomes that shows up in revenue and P&L very quickly. So great to see that progress that you're making with the technology. Now, I know you are here right now with these outcomes, but let's just kind of stare a little bit to the future. So I'll begin again with you, Sam. As you're thinking about in your organization, what is your vision to leverage data and take it forward to drive bigger outcomes?
Yeah, this may sound a little crazy because we're here talking about data, today, yesterday, and tomorrow, et cetera. I think the way that we see data, we really see data as the tool, right? It's the medium to then create very personable experiences to really drive higher customer satisfaction. So it's at the end of the day, it's not actually really about the data. It's really about what we can do with the data. And I think I guess the way that we see the future is that the future will become reality when we have more conversations around those customers' experiences and how do we create these personable experiences that are driven by data, but we're not necessarily talking about the data.
So driving enhanced, personalized, unique customer experiences is the big thing for you as you go forward.
Yes.
Jaime, same question for you.
Yeah, so I find that, when you look at all the companies that are presented here, I find all of us together have a social responsibility as technology leaders to think about how can data help us to find solutions for remarkable human problems. So, for example, when I think about the division we have for TELUS Health, is if we all together can find a way that data can help to, for example, have early detection of cancer, that's something that we can do with data. If I look at the agricultural side, there's any way that we can predict or find better ways to detect early an infestation or a possible issue with any crop, we need that because food security is one of the big issues we have as humankind. So what I really find for data is we're just starting to really leverage this very useful asset to find solutions to different problems that we have in our own companies. But I want to ensure we don't lose the vision of we have a big responsibility on how we're going to use this to move humankind forward. And I find when I look at all the companies represented here, we are in a good momentum to be able to do that.
Excellent, that's very helpful. Last question for the both of you, but a totally different question. Nothing to do with business initiatives or whatever. I know a lot of people in this room obviously are data practitioners, and obviously they have led a career or middle of their career, they're going to move forward. Learnings from you, and I'll begin with you, Jaime, reflecting on your career journeys. What advice would you give to people who are either starting out or mid-journey in their data leadership career, what to do and how to become more impactful data leaders?
Well, I used to have black hair before I started my journey. Now,
you still have hair.
I still have hair, I know. But
well, that didn't go well.
With that in mind, I will say any transformation is a marathon, it's not a sprint. So you gotta pace yourself. You gotta start slow, you gotta show value, and then you scale. The other lesson learned is technology, for sure, is a factor, but even more than technology is the cultural change that you need to drive that change inside the company. So sometimes you have a technology solution that it works, but you have a failure to implement it. So that's the cultural piece. You need to be sure that people understand why they need to do that, why there's value to adopt it, and many times that's a longer journey than the technical solution itself. And lastly, I find that you really need to drive that S-curve of technology adoption in your company. So when you do any transformation, you have some teams at the leading edge of the S-curve that are willing and dying to go forward with the latest of the technology. They will help you. So use that momentum to narrate those stories to everybody else in the company so you can bring the rest of that S-curve to the right and ensuring that your journey moves forward. So I find there's a lot of storytelling, cultural change, and ensure that you start a specific and a scale and be able to replicate that across the company.
Sam, how do you see that?
I see it probably two ways. one is being comfortable with change, right? So the pace of change is just accelerating. The pace at which technology is advancing is just accelerating. So I think looking forward and certainly looking back, I definitely don't have hair now, so maybe that's some sort of indication.
Oh boy.
But just the pace of change, being comfortable with change, certainly first and foremost. And then I think the second one, which goes in kind, is being more comfortable in taking risks, right? Break glass, fall forward. It may take 4 or 5 iterations to actually find the one solution, or even hundreds of certain iterations to find the one solution that actually makes money. In the past, those iterations were very expensive. Lots of infrastructure, lots of time. That's now different with all of these new technical capabilities that we have. So be comfortable with change and be comfortable in taking more risks.
I think I'll add one more. I see, because data cuts across the enterprise and obviously all functional units. I think as I've talked to many of the data leaders, the CDOs and everyone, I think they end up becoming very good politicians. They know how to talk to everybody in their language because you got to get everybody along. In that, every functional unit can have their own agenda, but I think everybody has a very thick skin in the data business and a good sense of humor as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Sam and Jaime. Thank you both for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, so as I mentioned, we'll carry on. Please join me in welcoming Jag, Vice President and CDO, Single Family Homes, Freddie Mac, Maggie, VP of Digital Transformation, GE Digital, and John, VP of IT, AI, and Infrastructure, Texas Children's Hospital. Jag, Maggie, John, please come on up. A big round of applause.
Hey, good to see you.
Grab a seat, please. All right, that's the fun part.
Yeah.
So you all have a lot to share. There's obviously no pressure. This is a very testing group. Let's first begin with a quick intros. Jag and Maggie and John will go in that order. Give us a quick introduction on yourself and what your roles are.
No, appreciate it. First of all, Amit, thank you, and to you and the entire Informatica team. I think we were saying it backstage, seeing the energy and the camaraderie. It's been off the charts, and great to be here in person. As CDO, responsible for strategy, governance, our data product offerings, our decision modeling, and our business intelligence capabilities, our AI, ML for ops and tech, and being the owner of our shared assets, having to drive that digital transformation and modernization efforts.
Maggie?
Awesome. Thanks for being here today and sharing your time with us. So I started at General Motors for 20 years. The last 5-ish was focused on data management. And then I left and I tried my hand at fintech. So I wanted to see if the data management principles applied in different industries. So I was at Quicken Loans for about 3 years, went back to Ford, so manufacturing with customer and vehicle data, and now I'm at General Electric Digital and focused on all things data transformation.
Excellent. John?
Hello, thank you. My name is John Hamm, and I have the wonderful opportunity to serve the wonderful mission at Texas Children's Hospital, located in Houston, Texas. And for those of you that may or may not be familiar with the medical center in Houston, if you Google it, what you'll find is it looks like it's a city within itself, with more than 200 medical institutions located there. Texas Children's is one of the largest pediatric hospital and health systems in the United States, with more than 900 beds, and we serve children and women, and we serve the mission looking for a healthier and brighter future for the children. Some of my responsibilities is focused on our enterprise clinical application suite, business applications, and most importantly, thinking about how we can bring the data together to drive down the cost of healthcare, but most importantly, improve the care for the most important people, and that's our children and our women right there in the Texas area.
Awesome, excellent. Well, I'll begin with you, Jag. You've been, and we've talked quite a bit in the past as well, you've been a driving force behind Freddie Mac's cloud-first strategy. You're also obviously thinking about cloud and data a lot, and I know as Matt mentioned, you're obviously a big joint customer of ours between AWS and Informatica. Talk a little bit about the driving force behind the strategy and the execution at Freddie Mac.
No, appreciate it, Amit. So if you think about, what our approach is, ultimately we got to keep and making sure we're on the pace of meeting our increased demand, and I think we're all dealing with an ever-changing economy. And so ultimately, I think as John just highlighted from a mission standpoint, our mission is to make home possible. So I look at, moving to the cloud, a digital transformation is all around helping our mission. And I think about from a partnership standpoint with Informatica and AWS, Informatica has been with us for many years. And having that knowledge base of that ecosystem from legacy to the digital transformation, working with AWS, it reminds me of a phrase that you used yesterday, Amit, in your keynote, customer-centric. And the other phrase that was used, I heard a lot yesterday, was trusted partner. That's what this relationship is. And let me give you some examples. As a customer, making sure that we're always aligned sounds what you want to achieve, but how do you do it? When you have a tri-party call and Informatica, AWS, and Freddie, we're all speaking how to solve problems, what are the solutions, what are the ideas. In a room, it'll be difficult to say who's the customer and who's not. That's the value of the partnership. And so from my end, having that and looking at how we could accelerate and how could we achieve our transformation makes my job easier with Informatica and AWS.
Awesome, that's great. Maggie, I know I'm going to ask you about GE Digital and the amazing things you're doing there from a speed, scale, and digital transformation point of view. I'd love to hear your vision for that. But I'll tell you full disclosure, Maggie was sharing with me her history and what she has done in the past with many Informatica products and projects in the past. That warmed my heart. Love for you to share a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So at GE Digital, I was hired for digital transformation. And that's all fine and good, except when I got there, I realized we really needed to focus on data management as the foundation. And we're a software company, right? And the most important thing in a software company is driving revenue and being customer-centric. So I created a 3 to 5 year strategy, which is all the tenets of data management. Strategy is great, but you have to execute tactically, right? You have to have the business in mind. You have to bring them to the table. And really, one of the most exciting parts that I was sharing is when it came time to identify the top priorities for the company and set those priorities is because of the strategy and because of how I evangelized data as such a foundational component to customer centricity is during the strategy sessions, the business units, the general managers of the business units were actually the ones that were standing up saying, hey, we need to do this. We need to do data management as part of our strategy. We need to invest in data. And so that was really like a celebratory moment to say, it wasn't me advocating for what I know to be true. It was actually the business. So my chief marketing officer, my financial officer, right? They saw the reason and they understood the why behind it. And so interestingly enough, Informatica was part of that strategy, right? Standing up MDM. And that was an absolute because our customer data was in somewhat of a state of disrepair. It was relatively redundant, and from a customer centricity perspective, we knew that was a #1 priority. So that's what we did with implementing MDM C360. And fun fact is we're in week 2 of our implementation of our cloud instance, and within a week and a half, we have integrated Salesforce and our marketing databases as well. We've already been profiling the data within a week and a half. So the speed is just something to behold. So super excited.
There's going to be a session separately for Maggie. I know what you just said earlier, that the business was standing up with her. I know yesterday in a breakout, that's the one question everybody gets. Hey, data management. We all get it in this room. It's the most important thing to do. But how do we really evangelize it and get the business to stand up? So we should do a breakout on that one sometime.
Absolutely.
John, coming to you. I know at Texas Health Hospitals, obviously leveraging data and is a big part of that journey. Share a little bit about what you're driving over there as a part of the strategy and execution.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Amit. So one of the things that me and my team think about often is that the children who are sick, and maybe someone or can relate, they're sick right now. They don't have a choice to be in that hospital bed. And it drives us crazy because there's an abundance of data that's now readily available that might unlock the key to unlocking that care. Or maybe when we use Oracle Cloud, maybe there's data between Oracle and our EHR that could reduce the expenses or the cost of care for these children and women. And it drives us crazy. And so I start to think about the wonderful things that we've done over the last 3 or 4 years. And I think about our cardiology center, who's using time series data, kind of like a Netflix video off of physiological pumps. And they can do things, and they are doing cardiac arrest predictors. They can now detect in advance if a child might go into cardiac arrest and implement risk measures before it happens. I think about the work that we're doing with a pediatric deterioration index, where we're starting to use a different system to build a model to look at how we can discover if a patient is starting to deteriorate and intervene, and furthermore, research and study what can we do proactively to prevent that from happening in the future. And I'm really excited that we're working with our Neurological Research Institute with another system where we are taking the unstructured data inside of our EHR, and we're actually calculating the human oncology phenotypes, which are our characteristics, scoring that, and the study is to take that and correlate it to genetic testing data, and there's a real possibility of detecting the type of epilepsy and improving it by more than a year, which stops seizures in kids earlier. But the problem we're running into when we went on a listening tour with our researchers and physicians a year ago was that it's not easy to access the data, and it's hard to pull the data together. And the speed at which the tools are available, but their ability to use it isn't there. And it was hard to hear that from them, but we listened. And not only did we listen, but we brought that to our EVPs and our in-chiefs. And we acknowledged it's a problem. So when we launched the strategy, we knew that we had to think about the ability to stand up data models and workloads in different places and to enable, but we needed a data fabric to be able to connect that together, to move it quickly to the area that's most helpful for our physicians or researchers. And as you know, we selected Informatica IDMC, and so we are working and have made great progress and have gone live with several of our capabilities just within the last few months.
Boy, that's terrific to hear. A couple of things just jumped out to me. I didn't even think about it. Obviously, when we were bringing this panel together, I didn't realize, but it warms my heart. I mean, we are making homes more affordable, care. So, I mean, that's actually really, really great to see the impact that we can have, because those are obviously critical things for our communities to get better at. Obviously, we all live in a commercial world, but those kind of things are incredibly important for our society to get better and our communities get better. So I'm really warmed. The other one is that I can clearly see, and Maggie, you mentioned, that the speed of innovation. I mean, we obviously we aspire to that, and we push our teams to that, but just hearing it from you, the pace at which you were able to go live actually is genuinely great to hear. Again, that's something that we have to keep pushing more and more of. All right, so coming back to you, Jag, we'll keep going. You've talked about investing in IDMC as a platform, leveraging various capabilities. It's not the product per se, it's not the platform per se, it's ultimately the business value that matters. Talk a little bit about it, everyone. What business value have been able to achieve through that?
No, sure, and I'll go into specifics, but tied into our data strategy and our strategic framework. We have 3 main building blocks. Managed content covers your governance, information risk, and if you think about where Informatica plays in that space, as Maggie was talking around MDM, managing our counterparties, our metadata management is critical in terms of how you can bring our loans in and service them, right? So it's a backbone in terms of overall processing. Equally, how do you protect our data? So the discovery of critical data, where does it reside, and are you protecting it, is another key aspect where Informatica really helped us in the last couple of years, because it's obvious as you go to the cloud, information risk and the risk appetite is moving more conservative, more adverse, and we need to ensure that by transforming, we're not increasing risk, we're actually mitigating it.
True.
Our second building block, we call this trust our source, is really how does the data move within our ecosystem? So in the legacy world, we know, okay, spaghetti, hops, et cetera, and we want to be more simplified in our ecosystem. Again, whether it be from Power Center to IDMC, your transformation in terms of moving to the platform and capabilities, that how we are staying resilient, how we're having speed to market, how data moves within the entire Freddie Mac environment. That's day-to-day, that's our job. And then last is Empower Business. And when you think about Empower Business, is really harnessing the power of data. How can we help with our products, meet our customer and our mission? Again, when I think about the various capabilities within IDMC, those words all come from the foundational aspects of what we're trying to achieve. So for example, a program such as how we really have reimagined servicing and helping in terms of our customers and accordingly. IDMC in terms of our speed, changing and making our data movement more efficient, and then showing it in terms of our dashboards, et cetera, has been really great. And I think Maggie was talking about that speed to market. People are not asking why are we doing it, is when can we get those capabilities now? And that's a fantastic conversation to have.
Terrific, terrific. Just continuing on that, Maggie, for you, I think similarly you're obviously driving the GE digital vision. And tell us a little bit about how you're fulfilling that vision and some of the value that you talked about, how you are attaining that.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I put together a strategy, right? 3 to 5 year strategy, roadmap, charters, all that good stuff. Also needed an ROI, right? And one of the key things that Informatica helped me to do was to carry forward a business value assessment. And that business value assessment to this day is still something I go back to, right? Because it talks about the actual business benefit, but it also talks to some testimonials about the pain points that are in the business, right? We're trying to do account-based marketing. We can't do it well because the data is in a state of disrepair. We don't know who our customers are. So one of the things that I put into the strategy is you have to recognize your customers quickly. You have to support your customers and understand them. So not only who they are, what their phone number is, what their location is, but what products do they have? What version are they on? And then finally is innovate with them. Right? And in order to innovate with them, you have to know, 360 degrees of who they are, right? And so part of that was built into that business value assessment. And one of the pain points that I have focused on to get started is, again, that account-based marketing, which is why we're implementing the C360 right now. And it's critical, and the speed, and I'll give I gave you the example. So I was at Ford and I implemented Informatica at Ford. It took us, 18 months, 12 to 18 months to get off the ground, get everything implemented and integrated. And here, like I said, within weeks. And I feel guilty being here because my team's, back home implementing C360. But as it turns out, we're flying, right? And we can go back to all of the people that stood up and fought for data management to be a priority, and we can go back and say, look at what we're doing, right? We're moving the needle. And data is an enabling function, right? I can do my part by cleaning all the data up, but ultimately then I have to lean on my chief marketing officer to pull that thread through and actually go make that revenue, right? So it's a partnership where the business needs to have a voice and a stake, in that game. And I'm telling you, the business value assessment, I can't say enough good things about it. It was so well done, and it's stood the test of time.
2 things. BVA, use that. That's free. Second is, I think as we've gone to the cloud, I think it's a very honest feedback Maggie gave me. From multiple months, things have gone down to weeks, and that's what we share, the speed at which we want our customers to move. So it's a great testimonial to see that you actually realized it versus we just talking about it. John, coming to you. Treating data as the core of decision-making in a healthcare provider setting is obviously has a lot of challenges to it, right? Because you're really making life and death decisions at times. Tell us a little bit about, again, the value you got, just like Jag and Maggie talked about at their end.
Yeah, so from a value perspective, you know, I think one of the key things that we have to remember when we started the journey is that the human has to be at the forefront of the thought around this. And what we did, I have a great, great team, and we began to architect and think about what this could look like and how we bring value to our physicians, researchers, nurses, our operations teams. We went straight to the whiteboard with an architecture diagram. And we said, time out. You know, we're in an era where data literacy and data governance has to be understood not by pockets of the organization, but by the organization. And this is a leadership issue that has to be solved. And when we really recognized that and understood and went and tested that, what we decided to do was invest in one pillar around data literacy, data governance, and data education. On the data education part, we're working with Rice University and the University of Houston to create cohorts. And in the fall, we're going to launch, and our ask and expectation is every leader and chief physician attend one of these cohorts. You know, I think back to when the Enron happened. There were a lot of in leadership across organizations that may not have understood how to read a financial statement. It became imperative they read the financial statement. I believe in today's era, it's imperative our leaders understand data and how it can be used and what that business strategy is. And so we're going to move forward with that. On the literacy side, I'm excited that we just rolled out Oracle Cloud last year for our ERP system. We leveraged the data catalog as a first step and put together a governance structure because we changed our GL structure and chart of accounts. And we now use those tools from Informatica and that data governance anytime we do significant integrated changes in our ERP. And I'm even more excited that just last month, we rolled out our first data catalog and lineage mapping for palliative care use, which is one of the most commonly asked areas around research. And I'm excited about this because now I was sitting in a meeting with Baylor College of Medicine, who's our academic partner, good partnership. And I was in a joint management committee, and I was explaining to them how the data lineage map can now be used by their research and institute early on in their IRB study definition. And I pulled up the screen and showed them a picture of the lineage map that had been created. And I went to the next slide, and one of the associate professors said, go back to that slide. And said, you realize how big of a deal this is? And talked about how better design of the study for research early on and understanding the data and where the data is coming from is going to help them think about the possibilities of the study.
Yeah.
So I really thought that was powerful. But my key point, though, is we cannot ignore the human part of this. It has to be part of the program. And then, of course, the other pillar I have is the technology and then the rest of it.
Indeed, indeed. Lineage. If I can geek out for a minute, I know that's the hardest thing to do. Just show me the darn flow of the data. Where is it coming from? Every hop it takes, who's touching it. You talked about the security of data. That all, you know, it's so foundational to that. So obviously, these are hard technical problems, and we'll continue to solve them. The other one I want to highlight is yesterday, if you see, I talked about the launch of IDMC's industry clouds. You know, obviously, we talked about retail earlier this year. We launched healthcare and life sciences yesterday and financial services. Our goal is to continue to help our customers not just have a platform and the product, but as much as possible, we can customize it to different industries. So we've launched that and fully expect more to come over the course of time for other industries as well. But that'll help you accelerate your journeys.
Fantastic.
Well, we're coming down to the last mile, so I'll pick one question that I'll ask each and every one of you, and we'll mix it up. I'll begin with you, Maggie, this time. You know, any advice to all of these data leaders in this room? We talked about the intelligent data enterprise. We talked about data as a platform as the next evolution to digital transformation. What advice would you give people in this room?
You know, the advice that I would give is make sure not to focus too much on the long-term strategy. It's huge. The data problem that you may or may not have is so big. bite-sized chunks, show the value, get the business integrated, help them to understand the importance and the relevance of why data is important to them. So I would just say, I guess, is start small, show those wins, and make sure that you always have the customer at the center of everything you do, right? And yeah, just start small and make sure that you can measure your progress. It's huge.
Got it. John?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest advice is being part of several of these is there's a tendency to start with a much smaller group to try and conquer the opportunity of data. And I think what I've learned over time is it's really a point where it's about inclusion. When we went out and started the listening tour with our researchers, I had in my mind, we'll talk to 4 or 5. And then the news started getting around that we were interested in the problems they were having with data. And I think our listening tour ended up with more than 25 physicians who now serve on a research work group, research data work group that meets every 2 weeks. And their involvement and their critical input has shaped the program. But what I'm also finding as we started working through those very difficult and sometimes hard conversations, they've actually become some of our best advocates when it comes time for budget, comes time for skill sets, understanding the problem we're solving, and it's not easy. And so I would say that probably the biggest advice if I step back would be don't be afraid to go a little bit bigger and include more people in the journey of the organization.
Jag?
Yeah, just piggybacking off of what John and Maggie have stated, transparency, it's going to be multi-year and it's not going to be easy. Lay that out, first and foremost. It's not about a technology issue. It's as much about people and process. It's going to be a culture change. And how you continue to lay that groundwork, I think will be key for success. Because people think, oh, I'm just moving and it's all about the technology. You're impacting the people, process, and the culture as much as anything. Consumable North Star, I found to help. Was make small chunks, take the wins, but having the benefits on a business term. Why are we doing it? It's not just about information risk or consumable data. What problems are we solving, and what are they seeing? So tying back to your mission and business objectives. And ultimately, it's about the customer. So whether it be internal or external, showing them why we're doing the digital transformation and what benefits have been achieved, that ROI. Again, how can we then ask for more money, budget, people? You'll get it because they want it now quicker. And that's, I would say, in the last 18 months has been, I think, the most eye-opening in my case. Before, I had to defend everything, why? Now it's, we like it, what can you do more? And having that, you gain that credibility, it's key for success.
Well, words of wisdom from all 3 of you. Well, thank you for joining me, and thank you for joining all of us. A big round of applause for Jag, Maggie, and John. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.